Hey! Yo! Fella! Ladies, gentlemen, all the fellas in the chat right now on a Thursday afternoon, put your hands in the air. Put your hands in the air. If you just don't care. Hey, what's we doing? What's he doing up in this chat right now? How we feeling? 9 games late. Injury news already breaking, and we haven't even gotten close. We haven't even touched the surface of what the injury news is going to be today. Not even counting unexpected injuries. Kawhi Leonard, Marcus Morris, Domantas Sabonis, Jimmy Butler, Bam Adebayo, massive names. Kelly Oubre, Derrick Rose, Al Horford, Jeremy Grant. That's 9 guys who are actually impactful for this slate. We can say 8 if we don't want to count Marcus Morris, who's doubtful, already projecting him out today. We already have news on LaMarcus Aldridge and Steph Curry and Draymond Green. Cam Johnson. Hey, everybody's out today. Look at this radio voice we just took out of nowhere. What's up, everybody? How y'all doing? Let's answer your questions. Let's get your Q&As in. Let's do it. Let's like, subscribe, do those things if you're watching on the replay. The video is brought to you today by $7,500 first play super draft. Ooh, we got the golf polo on. We hit some fucking balls at the driving range earlier. The Nike super draft golf polo. Had to show up. Had to show up with it on. Put us puffing our chest out. We had to say with our chest out there in the driving range, and then after that, everything kind of went downhill. But yeah, we'll talk about them in a second. How y'all doing? How's your Thursdays going? How's your National Music Day? You listen to any music today? I've had a decent amount on, some good vibes. It's actually like warm as fuck outside for the first time. Well, maybe not warm as fuck, but it's definitely warm. What's up, my guys? Let's bring in that money. Sal is number 1, says Patrick Bush. Hey, yo, you too kind. Number 1 in your hearts. Hey, appreciate that. What's up, fellas? Let's get the Dollarooskies roll. Sal, you the man. What's going on, Unicorn Love? How you doing? Richard in the chat. He says it's a glorious afternoon. Positive vibes only. For sure. People getting up in here. There he is, Sal. What's up, Squeak Diesel? How you doing, boss man? Is Sabonis active tonight? Sabonis, Joel. What's going on, Joel? He is currently questionable. Taking Bazemore over Wanamaker all night, somebody says. Okay, so yeah, I'm going to pull up Golden State's minutes. Obviously, Golden State now looks really appealing. We don't even know the status fully on Kelly Oubre yet. It can only get better for really everybody on Golden State. I mean, if you take Oubre off, it's their 3 best players from a fantasy perspective now off the court. 2 of their 3 best are currently already off the court. So, yeah. Let's get this Thirsty Thursday money. Uh-oh. Yeah, for sure. I'm down. Hey. This is our last time doing a live stream until Wednesday. And Wednesday's only a 2-game slate. So, like, our last full NBA slate until next fucking Thursday. Isn't that crazy? So, I mean, what to expect from this channel is tomorrow, NASCAR video, MMA video already out, an MMA live stream on Saturday. A vlog is going to be dropping tomorrow on this channel. And then Monday, next week, new golf event. New golf event. We're going to be breaking down some golf even more in depth. We'll have a betting video on Tuesday, and we'll have the normal golf video on Monday for you. But yeah, no NBA to break down until Wednesday. So how about that? Get a nice lift in while I tune in. Need my real gains tonight, though. Hey, I like that. Get the double gains. Hey, fellas, let's give our boy Sal a like and a sub if you haven't already. Skylar, I appreciate you a ton. I wish OBS had a plugin. Maybe, actually, I guess they do. Like Streamlabs OBS, right? A plugin to just like bring people's questions or comments up on the screen. I think that could be something that keeps it a little bit more interactive. That's what I like about StreamYard. The problem with StreamYard is I can't, like StreamYard and some other sites, I can't like create the same layout. It's just kind of either me or just like a small box of me. We can't create this nice little layout, but yeah, I'll have to look into maybe getting people's comments to pop up on the screen, like the way that I can click on them. I like that. What are the top 3 value plays running out of money? LOL, somebody says. What's going on, Jose? So top 3 value plays today for me, as it stands right now with, this slate is going to turn on its head. They're Warriors. Brad Wanamaker, Kent Bazemore, and Eric Pascal. Anytime 2 top studs on a team are out, for a team that doesn't usually have a lot of studs after that, they're going to look good, and it only gets better if Kelly Oubre's out. Will you be talking about the late game, asks Jamar. The late game, I'll be talking about all the games today. All 9 games in the slate we have broken down. We have projections. We have rankings. We now have an optimizer that we can talk about some of the highest projected lineups that we have with the current news right now. And there's our optimizer, the big energy optimizer. Seems like a lot of people are enjoying that. A lot of people have been signing up lately. It's been a lot of fun. No All-Star Game Showdown show? That's actually a good question on Sunday. Maybe, because as of right now, I don't have any content to put out on Sunday. It depends what I'm doing this weekend, if I'm going to be honest with you. It depends if I'm going to be going out this weekend and just chilling out, relaxing, maxing, all cool, staying in the house. And then, yeah, Sunday morning I could wake up and do something. But, yeah, I mean, the All-Star starting rotations. Did they do a draft again this year? I literally couldn't tell you. Did they do another one of those drafts? Are they doing that like today? Have they already done it? I literally could not tell you about the All-Star Game. outside of it being on Sunday. So yeah, is it not like online? Is it like legitimately in person? I know that they were originally going to do like a video game all-star game like Madden, like the NFL players did. Now I assume now this one is actually in person from all the stuff that I'm seeing about it actually being a real break. But yeah, did they do the draft already? Because it gets a little bit wonky. Over the last couple of games of DFS all-star games. Obviously the starters are just massive minutes-wise, but that stuff can change a little bit. Dollar Rusty, somebody says. Let's get these Dollar Rooskies. Yes, Skylar. Listen to Juvenile during our drive to Arkansas today. Nice. Let's get this Thursday money. I'm feeling great, Sal. Ready to make some Dollar Rooskies. Love that. Who's your best mid-range support piece for Mr. Nikola Jokic today? Yes, we can pull up Denver's minutes while we talk about just kind of Jokic and how good of a pay-up option he is. So mid-range support player. So I guess, what do you want to say? 5 or 6K range? If Derrick Rose plays, it's probably going to be Derrick Rose. Dennis Smith Jr. I like a whole lot. I think that Serge Ibaka is fine today, but yeah, like right in that 7K range if Jeremy Grant goes, otherwise Norman Powell. I guess what range exactly? If you can clarify for that, I can help you out a lot more. My man Dave in the chat. Another crazy slate before the All-Star break. Yeah, yesterday was absolutely nuts and wild, and I expect very similar things today because why in the hell, when you know you have a week off after this, and a lot of guys maybe even playing in the All-Star game playing tonight, you're going to have to go play in a pointless game and travel and things like that. Either way, your vacation starts in a couple of hours, literally a couple hours. Why are you going to go play out there tonight? Especially once like some teams start to call players out and not have guys out there, like Golden State tonight. Like now that Golden State's not going to be having their guys out there, there's a good chance that guys like Devin Booker rest, right? There's a pretty good chance that a veteran like a Chris Paul ends up resting. We already see Cam Johnson out for Phoenix. Like when you see the other team, especially if Kelly Oubre is ruled out today too, when you see the other team just kind of throwing in the towel, it makes it so much easier to be like, all right, yeah, let's just not play our studs 30 to 32 minutes tonight. Especially for a team like Phoenix that probably doesn't need like this victory for sure to get into the playoffs. Yeah, it seems to be an easy win though if they want to go out there and get it. If you're talking about seeding purposes early on right now, but it'll be interesting. When will Super Draft interests be out? Says Oots. Yeah, what's going on? Oots. Super Draft interest will be out like right after this. I'm basically just waiting for the news, right? Like we have 2.5 hours until lock. The Super Draft interest I usually put out a little bit later, like an hour and a half before lock, just to not have to update a bunch of more stuff for the news. Just really waiting on a couple more pieces of news. Well, obviously a lot of more pieces of news, but yeah. I'll go nuts. No basketball today. Somebody says, uh-oh. Sal, you're going to be lowering your exposure today, playing less because of the slate. Yeah. Yesterday, I did not play anywhere near as much as I normally do. Well, maybe not anywhere near. I probably played about 50% less than I normally do yesterday. Can somebody provide me with the Discord server name? Yeah, I believe it's just Sal Vetri Patreons. I'll put the link to the Discord if you're not already in it. I mean, if you're not a Patreon, you won't be getting access to it. You won't be able to get into this Discord. I mean, you can join the Discord, but you won't have any actual access. But the link to the Discord, I could put it into the chat right now. You can set it to expire in a couple of days. So there's a link for the person that was asking. Again, if you're not a Patreon, you won't be able to access it. But if you are a Patreon, you'll be able to link that all together. Hey, E made it. I appreciate E made it. Putting that into the Discord, the live chat. Yeah, how many people in here are patrons? I assume a lot of people are coming over from Discord now that little thing we got over there is growing already. 34 people currently, or 36 people already live on Discord right now. Live, if that's what it is. Barnes tier 1 says Shane Alexander. Ooh, we getting fresh with it. Let's start. Why don't we do an early lineup crunch? We'll do it. Let's do it with 15. How much randomness you guys want to do? 15%. Let's just do this without setting up any rules, right? We'll do 2 uniques on this big of a slate. Actually, let's do 3 uniques with a lot more players. And max from a single team, let's go 4. So without setting up any groups, let's let that build 20 lineups and we can circle back to it in a moment. Yo, Sal, what's your take on Ty Jerome? Yeah, I actually think that, so with all the value today, I'm not really there. I'm not there too much. Like he projects out nicely for me. So if you want to pull up Phoenix's minutes, Ty Jerome finally getting healthier, finally getting a little bit more opportunity. I have Ty Jerome today for Mr. Jerome. Former Phoenix, OKC, mistaken. 22 minutes. So I have Ty Jerome at 22 minutes today, and what is my projection? Yeah, projects out decently, like point per dollar wise, but still just 19 fantasy points for me. So there's just other guys in that range, even at 3,400. Like I have a bunch of other guys in the 3K range above him. I have 7 guys above Ty Jerome that are in the 3K range, so it just makes it, he kind of gets buried a little bit. Thank you, no problem, man. How long did it take you to win first place in a contest of 1K plus on DK Any Sport, says Eric. That's a good question. So, I mean, there's two sides to this, right? There's the side of me playing DFS since I was in high school, and then just like playing as casual as it possibly gets, making lineups like the morning of on NFL. And I'm talking like 7 years ago. This was, well, let's see, yeah, like 7 years ago. At this point, actually more than that. 5 years of a 5-year program at college, out of college for almost 2 years now. So yeah, so probably about 7 or 8 years ago, starting to play FanDuel and DraftKings during NFL season, which is crazy to think it's been that long. I mean, yeah, I never won anything. I was like maybe, and I was also only playing like 10 or 15 bucks, right? I was a fucking kid in high school. And then probably like my third year of college, so now this is at this point 4-ish years ago, 5 years ago, is when I started to actually take it a little bit seriously, started to make my own projections around that time. So I would say from the time that I made my projections to having like a significant win of 4 figures plus, my first significant win was in the first year that I actually did NFL. The year before I did my first year of NFL content, so probably about 4 years ago now, that was, I think, 1,700, and that probably came like 2 months after like actually honing down, tracking my bankroll. Also wasn't playing a lot. Like at that time, my bankroll was like $1,000, right? So I was able to have a pretty big hit on it. So I would say like 2 months after I started to actually take it seriously, which meant tracking my bankroll, having an Excel sheet of my ROI every single night, making sure I wasn't playing 100% of my bankroll every single night. I really didn't practice good contest selection then, right? Maybe like a year later, I started to practice good contest selection. And these last 2 or 3 years, especially the last 2 years, I've been really honed down on single entry and 3 max. I play 150s, but those are more so just because I like the game theory of 150 lineups and the leverage that gives you. But most of my exposure is in single entry 3 max, and a lot of them is in small field stuff. Sal, what's the most you would set a unique at? 2 to 3. 3, since it's a larger slate, starts to become a little bit more viable. So he says, hear me out, Sal. On what? Sal for president. Suns should smoke Warriors without Curry and Green. You would think so, right? Unless the Suns start to rest players as well. Encore says Sal for president. Too kind. Hey, Sal, can we trust Eric Paschal? I have him as a yes right now, but I think he's going to move to a maybe for me. I want to see what the starting lineup looks like. Obviously, I'm expecting right now Brad Wanamaker to start. If Kelly Oubre is out, yeah, you can trust Paschal. You can start to trust a lot of guys on this team. But they still have some bodies, and some bodies that can score, right? Outside of just Brad Wanamaker, they have Damian Lee, who was arguably their best player last year when Steph was hurt and Draymond was out, and obviously Klay Thompson was out. So even when Draymond came back, arguably Damian Lee was their best player. So yeah, they have a lot of other options, but Eric Paschal is a good producer. Like he's a good real life offensive player, which is not something that people thought when he was coming out, right? He was a good defensive player coming out when they ended up taking him in the draft. So Eric Paschal being good on offense, you just don't get to see it a lot because he's only playing like 18 minutes a night. And because in like the 2 situations in fantasy where he looked like the best of play of them all, he ended up choking it away. I think one of those games was like the first or second game of the entire season, the opening night. But yeah, I mean, like if Eric Paschal tonight is not going to be somebody who picks up ownership, which I think you're probably going to see Kemp Gazemore got the start yesterday. I think you're going to see Brad Wanamaker. Those guys are going to pick up ownership. Look, if Brad Wanamaker, and I like Brad Wanamaker a lot, we have to see him be in the starting lineup, and then I'll actually get confidence to play him in a single entry lineup if he's starting tonight, because Brad Wanamaker obviously just so absolutely dirt cheap right now, $3,000 flat, and he could play. I have him at 31 minutes right now. I'll pull up Golden State's minutes, but if he's going to be like obviously, I think he's going to be 50+% owned. If I had to bet money tonight, I would say north of 50% owned is where Brad Wanamaker at 3K flat comes in tonight if he draws the starting nod. And if Kelly Oubre is out, I feel a little bit more confident about that. If Kelly Oubre is in, Oubre can easily control the game for 40 minutes tonight and really take a lot of usage away from when Wanamaker's on the court. So, and I say easily for 40 minutes because I have Oubre for 35 right now. In a close game, you could see Oubre playing easily 38 to 40 minutes. That's where you start to worry about Wanamaker. And if Wanamaker goes out there and scores 18 to 20 points and I don't have him, I'm fine with that, right? The way that he buries you is when he scores 24 and really like 25, 26, 27 plus. So I'm hesitant on Wanamaker until we see the starting lineup. Now, I think that's obvious for a lot of people. If he's not in the starting lineup, people probably shouldn't own him at that high of a clip. In cash, you just play him and you move on. It's not something you should really think too much about. Is Toscano Anderson okay? Yeah, he's okay. He's in a player pool for me, but he's not a yes. Let's see on my 9. On a 9-game slate, I have a pretty large player pool that's going to have to get reduced. I currently have 59 players. Yeah, 59 players in a player pool. That will obviously weed itself out as we get more injury news because there's a lot of guys that I have maybes on that I really don't know how much they're going to be playing today, if playing at all. We have to wait on some other injury news. Top stud values today. I think the top studs are Jokic and Giannis in that order for me right now. I still like Westbrook. I still like Lillard, but Jokic and Giannis are the top studs, just given all the value that just came out. So the video this morning, I had Westbrook higher. The reason why Giannis becomes more of a priority now is because I just want pure points. We have all the value in the world. I literally have in my top 10 right now. I mean, I have 5 guys right now projecting out for me in my top 5 plays today, point per dollar wise, are all guys in the 3K range, and that's not even counting the Dennis Smith in the 4K range, the Serge Ibaka in the 4K range, right? Brook Lopez in the low 4K range. So There's so many cheap options that you just pay up for the studs. So yes, today is a slate where I feel completely comfortable going with two 10K plus players. I feel completely comfortable getting to Giannis plus a Jokic, which I do think a decent amount of people will do. But when I say a decent amount of people, like if you're in a 1,000 person contest, how many people have Giannis plus Jokic in there combined in the same lineup? My guess would be like 10%, right? Maybe like 8 to 10%, which is a lot of people to have those two guys combined, but it's not like you can't get unique right after that, right? So yeah. Yes. Good questions today. I like the question that Eric asks about how long it took to make the first like $1,000. Sal, my guy, how we doing? I need a win tonight. Who's your favorite plays and value plays? Yeah, what's going on? Josh Allen in the chat. Yeah, so I mean, top values right now, Brad Wanamaker's going to pick up ownership, so is Kent Bazemore. It's a lot of what's happening in Golden State. Toronto, Terrence Davis, I do like today, barring a starting rotation or starting lineup there. Dennis Smith Jr., I do like today, especially if you get Jeremy Grant out. But either way now, with Josh Jackson out, another point per minute producer for around 28 minutes is what I had. Josh Jackson, I'll pull up Detroit's minutes now. That only helps a guy like Dennis Smith Jr., who I now have projecting out for over 1.1 fantasy points per minute for 28 minutes. He's currently a yes for me. So, yeah, I mean, like top plays today, yeah, Jokic and Giannis. Starting my single entry 3 max lineup today with Jokic and Giannis and getting different from there is how I want to approach today's slate. So let's actually see what the optimizer will spit out for us. I'm curious at, we put 15% randomness on. I'm curious as to what some of these lineups will start to pop out as. Obviously, we're still waiting on a lot of the injury news. We could also lock in certain players. Let's actually do this. Let's actually go into this right now. Let's just, so with the new optimizer I'm showing on the screen right now, you can't see the whole thing because I have filters on so the screen looks shrunken so you can put more stats on the screen. So I'm trying to like zoom in. But you can make groups. You can build rules out. So let's just lock Jokic and Giannis just to play around here. So in every single one of these, we can build up to 150 lineups. I'll just build 20 lineups right now. In every single one of these lineups, we're going to have 3 uniques, 4 guys from a team max, 15% randomness. 15% is fine for right now on basic randomness. And then let's just build so you can see all the settings that you can do. And then let's just build 20 lineups for now. But we're locking in Giannis and Jokic to kind of get an idea of what these double stud lineups look like because we have so much value. So let's see what it gives us. So locking in Giannis and Jokic, like these lineups look fucking good. Like these lineups look goddamn good. So Terrence Davis, who for me looks like a top value option today. Damian Lee, who again, another top value option. I have him for 20 plus points today. Kent Bazemore, like you're going to get 3 Golden State Warriors. Well, we got 4 Golden State Warriors. So let's do this. I don't really want 4 Golden State Warriors isn't terrible when there's nobody else out there, right? It's really not. Like, do I want 3 or 4? What do you guys think? Do you guys want 3 or 4 from the same team tonight? Or we could split it up to get it from. We can make a group to make it so that we can only get certain amounts of guys. Like looking at this lineup right now, I don't know if I want 3 of Damian Lee, Kent Bazemore, and Brad Wanamaker. The problem is if Kelly Oubre is out, obviously he's not in this lineup, and then I feel fine getting 3 of those guys, right? So that's kind of the decision point today is do we want to get 4 from a team because we're going to get a lot of lineups that have 4 Golden State Warriors. This lineup only has 3 Golden State Warriors. It gives us, this one's nice. Holy shit. So this lineup's really nice. We get Paul George in it with Giannis and Jokic, right? We get some value guys that we like in Brad Wanamaker, a guy who was in our top 12 this morning. Bledsoe keeps playing big minutes. Fine with Terrence Davis. So these are the types of lineups I like to see. Now, obviously, I'm not extremely high on Eric Paschal, but that's what it takes to get to Giannis, Jokic, Paul George. So interesting lineups. You can check out the big energy optimizer if you want to down below. I saw a lot of people are signing up for, you get 2 months free if you sign up for a year package on Patreon now. So I saw a lot of people signing up for that today, about 3 or 4. So it's pretty cool. People locking in, seeing the value early on in that stuff. How likely do you think it is for a lot of late scratches after tip? I don't think likely. Like obviously Kawhi happened the other night, but that's not something that's likely. Like news coming out afterwards, like news coming out about guys in games that haven't started yet after lock is very likely. But that's where you just do your late swap stuff. But yeah, in terms of like stuff that happened with Kawhi the other night, it doesn't happen often. So I would say it's unlikely. What's the most you would set for a unique? 2 to 3 is fine. So 3, I guess. So people are saying that they want to go at most 3 from a team. All right, so let's put that into the optimizer and see what we end up getting. So we'll do a new build. We'll just go at most 3 from a team. So you have 3 uniques, 3 from the same team at most. So that's going to give us less of these Warriors value plays, which on a 9-game slate I think is completely fair. You can set groups, so we can like set player groups if we really wanted to, and we can come in here and we can say, okay, at a Damian Lee, who's a Wanamaker, right, and Eric Paschal and Kent Bazemore. Like out of this group of guys, I want at most, you can just put like at most 2 or 3. Like if you only want to get 3 total out of these guys, all these Warriors values. If Kelly Oubre is out, I feel fine going at most 3. If Kelly Oubre is in, you can go like at most 2. You could add that rule. So it starts to limit the amount of like cheap value, not great players, but just going to get opportunity type plays. So let's see what happens now that we limit that to Golden State guys. This was a top lineup that I just built for us. Not bad, right? You get Kyle Lowry in there as well. Bielitsa is kind of, we're going to have to see what happens there. Hassan Whiteside was just ruled out. Buddy Hield now questionable. But that is something that we will have to track. So you can see some other lineups here as well. All right. Let me just lower some of these things. Cool. Not bad. So this is like kind of the stuff that it's building right now, which is fun to play around with, especially since we got that randomness back. Somebody said Drew Bledsoe, all capital letters. There we go. Drew Bledsoe for president. We've been on Drew Bledsoe, I keep saying. Eric Bledsoe. Everybody was like, you keep saying Drew Bledsoe. Looking fellas, mate. What does that mean? Back. I think we were lagging from the thing. Wanamaker or dud, I'm calling it. Yeah, I mean, if he's 70% owned, it seems like all he can do is like let you down, right? Like at that point, on a 9-game slate, there's a lot of other opportunity. But when there's so many other value plays, he's 3K flat. So like if you get you 18 or 20, I just personally don't want him. He doesn't ruin your lineups, but he does nothing for you. But if he's starting tonight, especially if there's no Uber, he's going to start and play like 33, 34 minutes. He would have to be really bad to not do something for you. Drew Bledsoe going to throw 3 touchdowns. Yeah, I don't know why I keep calling him Drew Bledsoe. I know that his name is Eric Bledsoe. I think like the one day when we were talking about Drew Bledsoe as in JRUE, the former team that Eric Bledsoe plays for, the Milwaukee Bucks, where now Drew Bledsoe replaced him. Drew with a J. I think that's where I kind of thought of that. Now it's been sticking with me. Somebody said I missed the old spreadsheet. There you go. It's not an old spreadsheet. It's the same one. That was the lineup optimizer we were on, not the spreadsheet. Detroit or Toronto value too. Yeah, I like both. I think all of them are fine. I think all the value today is fine. Detroit's value is going to look really good if Jeremy Grant's out. I would say Toronto's value is better than Detroit's as it stands right now, but we have to see what happens with Jeremy Grant. I'll pull up Toronto right now. Toronto all around looks pretty solid today, like in terms of options at every price range. Like Terrence Davis down low. I mean, guys like Watanabe and Benry are at least starting to make their way and play. Lowry, I like the most on that team. Sal, quick question about Patreon. There's a basic NBA and all sports package. Is the all sports basic all sports besides NBA? No. If you sign up for all sports, it's just more bang for your buck. If you want the optimizer, that won't be in the basic. That'll be in the priority tier. But yeah, if you're somebody who's looking at the NBA basic package, you might as well sign up for the all sports or transfer into it for no additional cost, because you get the MMA projections and tools and the PGA projections and tools. And then obviously when NFL starts, you'll get that, which there won't be a crossover at least right now, because NFL, assuming that there's a preseason, I haven't seen any updates on that. That'll start in August. So yeah, more bang for your buck basically. There's no catch there. Just basically trying to give people more bang for their buck. 7.5K to 8.K support for Jokic. I'm getting to Lowry, George, and DeRozan, your favorite. Out of those three, my favorite right now will be Kyle Lowry. But if Kawhi is out, it'll be Paul George. Very close there. I would rank it Lowry 1A, George 1B, and then 2 DeRozan. What's up, fellas? What's going on, Devin? How you doing? High on Jeff Teague tonight? No, not at all. I mean, I don't know why I would be, unless there's some guys that just got ruled out. I have Jeff Teague for 14 minutes. Where do you have Lowry? Where did Lowry and Powell, Norman Powell rank for me today? Both rank pretty decent. Lowry's going to be the top option there, though. Lowry's my number 8 overall play for me, and Norman Powell ranks 13th overall. So both pretty decent, right? Earlier, they were both in the top 12. That's obviously before some news broke in Golden State, which made a bunch of Golden State guys go into the top 12 value plays in the day. Somebody said Drew Bledsoe, JRUE. Drew Bledsoe. Top center play in Super Draft tonight. Good, sir. Yeah. So I'll update the Super Draft interest. Now we got some people up in here. If you're not already signed up for Super Draft, they are sponsoring this here video. Yeah, you should check it out. There's no reason not to be playing on Super Draft. It's the last slate for basically a week that you can play in the NBA. Over on Super Draft, of course, they'll have MMA contests, which, man, if you got in on the PGA contest, some of them were filling at 55% yesterday. MMA contest, this is a big event. UFC 259, one of the biggest cards in a very long time. So, like, this event might fill, but I doubt it even still. But some of their, like, sub-events from that won't fill. All the other sports that are going on, like NHL and some other stuff that just doesn't get enough attention. Even NBA. Like, when NBA, when NBA is filling at 75% tonight or 70% because people are not wanting to play when the slate is this crazy. When it's filling at 70%, you can only imagine what sports like NHL are filling at and MMA, right? There's not as much content going out on them. So it's a multiplier format. You can play anybody you want. There's no salary caps. My top plays today on Super Draft are Damian Lillard, De'Aaron Fox. De'Aaron Fox looks great at a 1.3x multiplier. Way too high of a multiplier for him. Jokic, Giannis, Sabonis, Jeremy Grant. My favorite center over there is going to be Jokic at a 1x, but if you're going for anybody except for Jokic, I'll take Kanter, who the last 2 games have been weird because he faced Golden State. They closed small, so he had to get pushed off the court. Game before that turns into a blowout, so he only plays in like the low to mid 20s. Kanter's probably my favorite overall center play on Super Draft tonight because of that 1.55x multiplier. But yeah, check it out. It really is where you should be putting your first money. A lot of people who always tune in are going to be feeling like they're hearing a broken record, but if the contest fill at 70%, why would you give up a 30% edge basically in the contest? You beat 30% of the people just by putting a lineup in. If I told you 1 or 2 players tonight, that automatically would make you jump 30% of the people. Automatically, you would probably play them, right? If I told you that it was going to give you an increase in 30% chances of winning, you'd probably do it. That's the exact same thing that's happening on Superdraft, just the contests aren't filling. So if you want to use my name to check it out, SAL, it is where your first $Ruskis should be going tonight. How does Bobby Portis grade out for you? Bobby Portis grading out for me, not great. I'd rather Brook Lopez. Brook Lopez is cheaper. Brook Lopez plays more consistent minutes. He's not as good of a point per minute producer, but it's close enough. So Mr. Portis is not going to be in a player pool for me right now. And I have a lot of guys in a player pool, but Bobby Portis is not one of them. I have Bobby Portis. I have Michael Porter Jr. high. Bobby Portis I have for 22.7 points. So not great overall. There's also a link in the description. Somebody asked for Superdraft. I could put the link in the chat right now. It'll take you to Twitter, and then you can go from there. Any interest in Wiggins? Yeah, I like Wiggins a good amount tonight, and he only clearly gets better. So Wiggins is a yes for me. He's like one of my 20-something yeses, I think. We have a lot of yeses. I have him for 35 minutes, a fantasy point per minute producer now with no Curry out there. Favorite stud, favorite value play right now. My favorite stud is going to be Jokic, but I'm going to be trying to get Jokic and Giannis together. As of right now, my favorite value play probably sits at, I'd say my favorite value play probably sits at Dennis Smith Jr. at 4,800. Quickly tonight if there's no Derrick Rose. Otherwise, Derrick Rose. So we're still waiting on, that's another piece of news that we're waiting on tonight. So much news to be waiting on. That's just another piece of it. I don't think we've gotten any updates on news since we've come on, other than Hassan Whiteside right before we went on. Yeah, so Hassan Whiteside out. That was expected / projected for. Somebody said you got the clean fade. Who did? Wasn't me. Not yet, sadly, at least. Let me close out some of these other browsers since it seems to be taking up some. Cool. How you feeling about Josh Hart? He's kind of like borderline for me. Like, there's nothing crazy special about him today. Just probably one of those first guys out of a player pool for me, to be honest, with all the other value on the slate. I don't know why stuff is lagging on my end right now. The whole laptop be lagging. Shit's too powerful for it. I don't understand this. Rather fade Giannis or Jokic? I'm thinking Jokic. I'd rather fade Giannis if I had to pick one. If Bam and Butler are out, is Olynyk going to be a yes? Yes. Lillard burnt me yesterday. Yeah, I mean, and then he comes up for the clutch shot at the end of it, right? I mean, he shot poorly. Who do you like utility under 6K today? I mean, you have to give me a range. Terry R, what's going on, man? You have to give me a range. Like, under 6K, there's endless amounts of players today because there's so much value. Is Kawhi Leonard out? No, not yet. He's questionable. Top value options right now, all the Warriors, Wanamaker, Bazemore, Pascal, Damian Lee, the Toronto guys, and Terrence Davis, Watanabe, depending on who starts. Dennis Smith Jr. has the most upside, I would say, right now, but he's a little bit more expensive. There's some top values. You have an MMA lineup optimizer? Yes, I do. If you're part of the Hall of Fame tier, you will get access to all the sports optimizers. We have an MMA lineup optimizer. We have a MMA right now, and reading this message, PGA and NBA. Hey, my man Sal, how are you? How are you? What's your thoughts on Fox? Well, Fox is the cover boy today in his Kentucky jersey. I'm doing well. Hope you're doing well as well, Mr. Biggie. I like Fox a lot on Superdraft. He's one of my favorite. He might be my favorite play in Superdraft tonight. But also, yeah, he's one of my yeses. I have him for 47.5 fantasy points. Fox will continuously go a little bit lower owned than he should. So I'm going to like De'Aaron Fox on all platforms today. It'll be interesting to see if I get him in my single entry, just because I doubt I get there because I want to play Giannis and Jokic tonight. So it's going to be tough to get to that like De'Aaron Fox range. But on Superdraft, yeah, he's like a top priority for me. And you could also probably rest assured that De'Aaron Fox is not going to pick up ownership. On a 9-game slate where his price point is, people are going to try and go up to that next level of guys, whether it is even like a Paul George or Kawhi in that range, or just going up to, or even Kyle Lowry for a little cheaper, going up to the 10K range. I think Fox will probably be single-digit owned. Any interest in Mills or Augustine? Not in Augustine. Mills is somebody who's probably, I'll pull up San Antonio's minutes. Mills is probably who's somebody pretty close to just being out of my interest in general. So I have Mills right now as an interest at 28 minutes, but he's like barely cracking into my player pool. Sal, is there any way to account for weird things happening like McCollum's 10 steals last night? Nope, that's variance. Nope, that is variance. Yeah, getting 9 steals in the first half for TJ McCollum. Shot 100. Not only did he have 10 steals, he shot 100%. He shot 8 of 8. So, yeah, no, there's no way to account for that. Show out support, guys. Hit him with a like. By the way, since I've joined Patreon, my winnings have increased 5x. I've won over 500 in the past 3 weeks, says Josh. Let's go, Josh. Josh, have you used the optimizer yet? Or do you have access to it, I guess I should say? Shout out to you, my man. 5x. Let's go. Yeah, I'll throw the link to Patreon if you guys want to check out just all there is to all that is offered, including the new optimized hair. You can check it out now. Just dropped it in. Somebody said, never miss a Goodfellas show. Is that what this is? I like that. Hey, Sal, are you fitting in 2 studs? Yeah, Jay, what's going on, Jay Haynes? That's my goal. Yep. Somebody says, Sal, do you fade bicep curls? Curls are for the girls. Bicep curls? No. I do not. That's probably my favorite day at the gym. Reggie Jackson, if Kawhi sits out, probably not for me. Like, Patrick Beverley is now back. Paul George is now back. Reggie Jackson was going off when Paul George, Beverley were out, right? I mean, I think Terrence Mann might have a better opportunity than Reggie Jackson tonight. Fox or Paul George? Paul George if I had to pick one. Wiggins a lock? No. Ty Jerome or Dort? I'll go with Ty Jerome if I had to pick one. Somebody says, I fucking love this guy. Thank you. Thank you for showing how to use the optimizer a bit. I'm a first timer, says Christopher Moreno. Yeah, no problem, man. There's a lot more that goes into it as well. So, like, we can keep getting a little bit more advanced in terms of, like, the rules and settings. We don't even, for the NBA, we really don't even have to touch team or player stacks, right? That's more so something that can happen in team stacks for, like, NHL, shift stacks, MLB. Player stacks happen a little bit more when you're starting to look at sports like NFL. But yeah, we can definitely, if you guys were in here a little bit earlier, everybody, I assume most people were, we got like 300 people watching. Yeah, we can definitely talk a little bit more about the optimizer if people have any questions. But we have a video on Patreon that kind of walks through the settings. It doesn't matter if Mulder starts, Wanamaker is the play. If Wanamaker comes off the bench, there's a 0% chance that I play him if his ownership holds at above 50%. That's just how it is for me. Because the reason you're playing Wanamaker, yes, he's $3,000, but you want every minute you can get out of him. If you're going to go along and play with the, let's say, 55% ownership today, you want him to start. Because the second he comes off the bench, the likelihood of him only playing 20 to 22 minutes increases dramatically, right? Also, is it okay to go studs and scrubs in cash? Yes, definitely. Somebody says, Oubre is out now. Fellas, sign up for Sal's Patreon. Best value out there. You get all the DFS tools and the optimizer needed to win big. Yeah, definitely. We're able to offer it at a very reduced price than the other sites because we don't have to pay a lot of contractors and employees. So we don't have overhead. So we can offer it at a lower price for the community. Thoughts on Wanamaker? If he starts, I think he's fine. So yeah, he's going to be the highest owned guy tonight though. Yo, Sam, my man, any McCall Bridges for you? He's in a player pool, yes. The Goodfellas show comment and your reaction just made me spit out my coffee. Oh. We're going to have a vlog out tomorrow too. Lowry or Fox today? I'll go Lowry if I had to pick one. Somebody's saying that Kelly Oubre has been officially ruled out. I don't see anything official on that. He is still to be dated. I'm currently projecting him in until we get news on that because the second he gets ruled out, that entire team is going to look even more wild, right? We might have to get the Goodfellas show on a t-shirt or something. Start branding this as the Goodfellas show. Get all the guineas in the chat. My fellow guineas. CP3 or Kemba based on points, point per dollar upside between the two of those guys? I'll go with Kemba. How much randomness is too much randomness on the optimizer percentage-wise? Yeah, so you have to play around with it. It's general randomness where I was talking to a developer yesterday of the optimizer. One of the patrons actually developed it, which is cool. We're going to try to add it. We're going to add it, not try, but we are in the process of adding it. Randomness for each individual player because that's what I like to personally use. But you can play around with it. It's general randomness, so the higher you go, the crazier it's going to get. Obviously, but it's a little bit, since it's normal randomness, it's going to be a little bit more sensitive. So Like, you can play around with like 15 to 20 to 25%, start to see what those lineups look like. If they look like reasonable lineups, obviously the second you start hitting 50%, if they start to look like kind of out there lineups, right? It's doing like stars and scrubs every single lineup with some crazy guys, well, then pipe it down a little bit. The recent crunch we just did on the live stream, I used 15%, and I like the lineups I was getting. Definitely could have went probably to 20%, 10%. You can play around with it. You don't have to go by fives either, right? You can put 12% if you want to. Chris Paul or Kemba, DK single entry. So it depends what you're looking for there. Kemba, so somebody asked about that point per dollar wise. I have Kemba for 36.9 points today. I have Chris Paul for 37.8. So I'll take Kemba. I have Chris Paul for barely more points, but Kemba because of the price discount of $500. What's the max lineup ownership do you usually set? So again, depends on the slate, right? For max, in terms of just lineup ownership, you want to know what that specific slate is, because when if there's going to be a guy tonight like 60% owned, like a Brad Wanamaker potentially, that's obviously going to, if you're going to play a lot of him, right? That's obviously going to increase your overall average of ownership because there's a guy with 60% ownership in your lineup. So it's going to depend on the slate. So if you crunch out lineups and then you just go down, a little bit, you'll be able to like get the median ownership on that specific night. It's kind of all over the place, right? It could potentially be like all over the place. Some nights it could be 80%, right? Some nights if it's a smaller slate with everybody picking up ownership, it's going to be into the hundreds. But yeah, I mean, if you're looking at like average ownership, if you're getting like 8 guys in your lineup at 10% each, right? That seems to be average. 8 guys in your lineup at 12% each. So somewhere like around 80 if you're trying to be pretty contrarian, like 60. But the second you start to get guys in your lineup that are like 1 or 2% owned, it's going to drag it down. So yeah, 80 is like average. Max maybe like 100. This type of slate though, it's going to be higher, depending on who you like to play in terms of the high owned guys. Isaiah Stewart has been low owned value for some time now with no price bump on DK. Yeah, we'll see what happens with Jeremy Grant. I'm just not really there on Isaiah Stewart still. Somebody says it's to be determined, Sal. To be dated. TBD. Sup, Sal? My man was big energy drunk on this morning's Drew Bledsoe pod. The Drew Bledsoe pod. Yeah, so people think I'm saying Drew Bledsoe with a D when I say that. I'm mistaking him with Drew Bledsoe in JRUE, like in Drew Holiday, because half the times when I bring up like Eric Bledsoe and Drew Holiday's like differences in how they convert, like it's something we've been talking about a lot with Drew Holiday's being, now he's factoring back in minutes wise, still limited for Milwaukee, but just in general, when we talk about just like how that impacts Giannis and stuff, and like how the replacement guys aren't as good as Eric Bledsoe, who was there last year, and like this type of stuff, I basically am viewing them as the same player now since I talk so much about that. What are some good mid-tier center options today? Yeah, let's look at that. So good mid-tier center options today. I think Nerlens Noel looks pretty solid. On the little bit more of a cheaper end, Serge Ibaka and Brook Lopez look solid. Ibaka only gets better if there's no Kawhi out there today. Jakob Poeltl at $6,200 is strong, and then $6,800 Ayton is okay after that. The rest of them, I got more guys like Cantor and Boucher in a player pool as well, but those are some like a little bit lower tier guys. Do you like Rocco tonight against Sacramento? No. Derrick Rose is out. Rose is out. Alrighty. So with Derrick Rose out, we have our first news since we've gone live, and that is going to make Derrick Rose's 32 minutes be a 0 now, and that is going to make Mr. Come On Down, Emmanuel Quickly, into the interest. So I'll update the projections potentially as we're doing this right now, but we're starting to get some news, and now that Derrick Rose is out, let the floodgates begin of the last 2 hours until lock injury news that is coming out. How many games start at 7? Is it 3? How many games start at 7 exactly tonight? But yeah, we start off with Derrick Rose being out, and that is one way to start. All right. Any great value plays tonight? Yeah, there's a ton. Like the entire team on Toronto, the entire team on Golden State. That's only going to get to more. Kyle Lowry, question mark? Yeah, I got him. Somebody says I'm a fellow Guinea in the chat. Hey, I want 10% for the idea. So 10% for the idea for randomness or for like your average player ownership in your lineup. Who benefits most if Hield is going to be out? So I think Bielitsa picks up a lot more run. Since you already have Haliburton out, it's kind of a like Corey Joseph, all those like, I think Bielitsa's solidifying his minutes is like in the 20s at that point, but it's going to be all those guys off the bench. Like Justin James is somebody who last year always filled in when Buddy Hield was out. So I would say Justin James, these Kyle guys off the bench, right? These random guys. You think Jimmy Butler's going to play tonight? If I had to guess, I currently have him projected in just because it's easier to start that way. And then if he's out, we take him out instead of projecting him out and then having to put him back in, right? But if I had to guess, I would say no. But I'm going to project him in until we get other news. So yes, Derrick Rose is now officially out today, which again makes sense if we're just talking about like these older players that probably should just be taking a little bit of a rest. Even like Jimmy Butler, he's not old, but he's older, right? So like these types of guys, when you have a week off after this, just take the week off. Potential utility, potentially Nerlens Noel, Will Barton, or Carmelo over Eric Bledsoe. If you're going to take Eric Bledsoe out, I mean, I'll keep Bledsoe in there just because of the minutes he's getting. But if you're going to take him out, you can go to Nerlens Noel. Would be my favorite of those other options. Do you go lighter on a wacky nights like tonight, or heavy because you are more on top of stuff than the average Joe? So I'm definitely more on top of stuff than the average Joe. Yesterday I went lighter. Yesterday I only played like 1,000 instead of 2,000, so I played like 50% of my bankroll. That's just a personal decision. Yeah, like I do have like my laptop in close proximity, but I don't have to want to be glued to it so I don't miss something small. And then also you have like the chances, although unlikely, of some late swap or late scratch stuff happening tonight. So if you're somebody who will literally be glued to their laptop for like the next 4 hours with the games on, then yes, go heavier if you feel good about the slate. I feel fine about the slate tonight, but I don't think I'll be updating projections, but I don't think I'll be glued to my 150 maxes and things like that. So I'll still play pretty much the same exposure through single entry and 3 max that I normally do, but I probably won't play 150s tonight. I don't want to have to juggle those last minute like 3 times tonight. It's like the last thing I want to be doing. So single entry and 3 max, I'll still play the same amount. So taking out the 150s, which is what I did yesterday, it'll probably drop my exposure by probably 25-30% tonight. Overs in the NBA are hitting at 64% rate over the last 6 years on the night before the All-Star break. Little nugget for DK Sports Books, fellas. There you go. Good fellas idea. There you go. Brother Sal, you taking Nerlens Noel, Carmelo, or Barton over Bledsoe? I'll take Bledsoe over all those guys, but if you want to pick one, Nerlens Noel. Hey, Sal, what's your projection for Kelton Johnson? But Kelton with a T, not much. I only have him for 15 minutes tonight. Kelton Johnson for me is projecting out for like 14 fantasy points. Recommend taking a dart and throwing it at a piece of paper with Jokic and Giannis on it. Whoever lands closer, you play. Why not play both? But how about we throw that dart and it lands in between both of them? I'll play Jokic if I had to pick one. Both are obviously great. Both clearly have that 70-point upside, 80-point upside. I'll take Jokic, who consistently gets there more often and just has less working around him now, right? Like Middleton and Drew Holiday are now back. Jokic has way less working around him. Obviously, Jamal Murray's heating up, but then like who? Like as much as people want Michael Porter Jr. to be a thing right now, and sure, maybe he will be eventually, but he's not right now. And also like both of these guys get there in incredible ways. They all get the assist percentage. They all do this stuff. Jokic just minutes wise, he'll consistently play 38 more than Giannis, like 38 total. Somebody said pause. D-Rose is out. Dennis Smith or Quickly today. Yeah, so they're both probably going to be 2 of my favorite values now. I'll say it's going to be value first, or Dennis Smith still first. We're going to update the projections on these New York guys momentarily. Momentarily, we'll update the projections with Derrick Rose being out. Somebody said on the hub, 2 men, too much, eh? I don't know what that means. Somebody said on the hub too. What does that mean? Middleton or Ingram, DK single entry tonight. I'll go with Ingram. All right, Sal. The thought of having an optimized for MMA and NBA is making me erect. You got to sign up, says Andrew. Yeah, if you want access to all the different optimizers, you should get into the Hall of Fame package. That'll give you access to all the different optimizers. Do you like some Roby? Yeah, I actually do. Like I'm currently projecting Al Horford to rest because he's old and he always rests on these types of situations, and he's like the definition of the guy I would think would rest tonight. So I'm projecting Al Horford to rest, and yeah, that makes me like Roby. Roby's my favorite player from Oklahoma City tonight. You get that eligibility as well. When building lineups, do you view questionable as out tonight? It depends on the team. It depends on the team, the player. Most of the time, I'll give them the benefit of the doubt and rule them in. Most of the time, I'll rule them in. But sometimes I won't, depending on like how often they've been out lately, their age on these situations. But most of the time, I'll rule them in. Perfect. Thanks, bud. No problem, man. Use your George, Giannis, and Joker lineup. Hey, there we go. Best of luck. Best of luck. Make sure you obviously update that depending on some other news that comes out. How many minutes you got for Roby tonight? 28. He's right here on the screen, right there. That yes, Isaiah Roby, 28 minutes. Somebody says, what does that even mean? What does what even mean? 240 of you goons haven't hit the like button. Wake up. Somebody says hub. Uh-oh. You think Barnes is overpriced now? Appropriately priced, in my opinion, especially if you're going to get Buddy Hield out. Even more potential to play 40 minutes. With Rose now out, do you think he is overpriced or still good to roster? Do I think who is overpriced? With Rose now out, do I think who is overpriced? Quickly is not overpriced, if that's what you're asking. No, I don't think Quickly is overpriced. Quickly is going to be one of my favorite plays. Aiden donates $5 super chat. He says, jamming in Paul George, Jokic, Dame tonight. Those three studs look good. Yeah, we had a lineup earlier in the optimizer that had Paul George, Jokic, and Giannis, and that looked good. So I can imagine dropping down from Giannis to Dame, a little bit less expensive, not by much, but a little bit. I assume it's still going to look good. So I'm going to update the projections. We're going to obviously have to update them a decent amount, but Emmanuel Quickly is not going to look like somebody that I want to play. So let's start to go to New York here. I'm going to look at some of these past, really just the last game when Derrick Rose was out. And we don't have to move any of these minutes for some of these guys like RJ Barrett. Well, we're good with RJ Barrett. Nerlens Noel will stay the same. Emmanuel Quickly, I'm now going to project for 26 minutes, which clearly at over fantasy or over 1.1 fantasy points a minute makes him look good. Burks is fine at 24. I'm going to give Reggie Bullock also. Let's give Reggie Bullock 27. Frankie Ntilikina. He's going to come up a decent amount because he played a decent amount last game. Let's give him 22. We're going to add these minutes up afterwards. This is just kind of the quick and dirty version of this. I think that... Do we want to give the minutes to Kevin Knox or Austin Rivers? I mean, last time out, well, let's kind of just split it here. So just given this, Emmanuel Quickly grades out for over 30 fantasy points for me. So he starts to look like a very strong play. Him and Dennis Smith, like we said this morning, so it actually worked out this way. Dennis Smith and Emmanuel Quickly look like very strong options now. Some secure mid-range to not super cheap, but mid to decent options. I just got here. Who would be your core? Yeah, I don't really have a core, my man. I mean, I like the idea of playing Jokic and Giannis together with all the value that we have, but I definitely do not have a core. Detroit page. Detroit is... We're still waiting on Jeremy Grant. I like Jeremy Grant, and I like Dennis Smith Jr. the most right now. If Jeremy Grant is out, some stuff will change on some of my other interests, but a lot of these guys like Sabin Lee shot well. Wayne Ellington hit 8 3-pointers last night, so like some of this stuff is just a better value elsewhere. Is Rose still overpriced? Just wanted to throw you a curveball, somebody said. No, Rose was a good play either way if he was going to be in today. Well, now that he's out, he's obviously not. Terrence Davis or Reggie Jackson if Kawhi is out. I'll go Terrence Davis. My man Sal, what's up? Sadiq Bey managed to be only Piston to not go off last night. Yeah, I have him at 33 minutes. I'll actually like Sadiq Bey over most of the Pistons who did go off last night outside of Dennis Smith if there is not going to be any Jeremy Grant. Quickly and Smith together, a good move for small field single entry. Yeah, I think that's fine. I like that. Sal, if you ever have a sick day, hit up Vinter from Jersey Shore, Gym Tan Laundry. There you go. Randall or Bonus if he plays. I'll go Randall over Sabonis. Any G-State value plays you recommend? All of them are in play. It's just kind of pick the ones that you think are good. I'm really not dying to play 60-something% Brad Wanamaker, so I'll probably get away from that in single entry stuff. I'm not playing 150s tonight, so yeah. Like you have Wanamaker who's going to be in play. Depending on, we have to see what happens with Kelly Oubre. That's a really big decision point. Kelly Oubre is going to be the number one usage player probably on this team tonight, number one point per dollar player tonight, so we really have to see what happens there. Top 3 fastest paced games. Yeah, let's pull up the target offense sheet. Bane, Batum, or Winslow? With the value on tonight's slate, the answer is for me, none. The answer is none for me. Top 3 fastest paced games. So we're seeing the pace right here. I have to update. I don't think I pushed an update for this today, so this can definitely be off. It's still going to take into account most of the information, but this can definitely be off for like specifically this. Like just taking into account yesterday's games. But you're going to have fast-paced games. Denver and Indy, that not a lot of guys are going to be there today, especially if Sabonis is out, who touches the ball the most in the NBA. So I don't know how true that will still ring. But San Antonio and Oklahoma City, Phoenix and Golden State. Again, Golden State's going to be without a lot of guys. So it's really hard to judge pace today. For the most part, we can, but it's hard to judge it extremely well because a lot of these guys just aren't out there today. Like the guys who push the tempo, like a Steph Curry, not out there today, right? Draymond's not pushing tempo, but Steph Curry, not out there today. OKC and San Antonio, that one probably should hold up as a quickly paced game, even if a lot of San Antonio guys are out. It's some of their older players, LaMarcus Aldridge, Rudy Gay, right? So that one's not that big of a deal. Memphis and Milwaukee should be decent. There's some options for you. Appreciate the super chats, my man. Hey, Sal, would Bazemore and Crowder be two cheap plays to pay up for studs, and would you stick to Clippers and Wizards game since a lot of scoring? I'll like specialize or pick apart the Clippers and Wizards game, like Russ, I guess, and Kawhi or Paul George, Kawhi. But I'm not going to like stick to it for that reason. Thoughts on De'Aaron Fox? I like him a lot. Bazemore, Pascal, whichever one starts. So if it's Bazemore, again, Bazemore. Corey Joseph in play at 3,400 if Buddy Hield is out, yes. As of right now, no. Payton might play, question mark. Did we get that news update? Did we get like a news update that Alfred Payton might play? Last I saw he was doubtful. So I'm currently having him ruled out. Payton, no update there. So he's doubtful. So I'm leaning towards less than 50%, which means he's out of my projections. Any love for Matthews on Washington? No. We have him for 20 minutes, but no interest. Let's pull up Washington's minutes. We haven't really hit on them. I mean, it's just the same old story with Washington. If Russell Westbrook and Bradley Beal are in play, they're the only, or playing today, if they're active, they're the only two that really look decent to me. I'm getting a lot of Ty Jerome, and it's scaring me. Yeah, I really probably don't want to go there as of right now, unless something happens with Paul George or Devin Booker. I'm probably not going to go there from guys who are going to be getting some bigger minutes, in my opinion. Lowry or Fox, more DK points tonight? I'll go with, that's actually a good question. I think it's Lowry, but there's a good chance they're like both at the same point. And then I have Kyle Lowry for 47.24, and I have Fox for 47.45. So I have them both for 47. I'll take Lowry with the price discount. 47 and change, of course. Can't play 50% Winslow on my single entry and 3-max. Yeah, I mean, he might be more than 50%. I hope Wanamaker. I hope Wanamaker starts just so that the ownership stays high and goes even higher. Because as of right now, I'm going to stay away in single entry 3-max. Look, if Wanamaker goes out there, he's grading out well for me. Look, he grades out as my top value. The problem is that people are going to just assume that if Kelly Oubre is in, that makes me a little bit more weary of playing Wanamaker, where Oubre can easily play 38 to 40 minutes a night and soak up a lot of that Wanamaker usage. Like, I have Wanamaker for 25 points. That's clearly incredible at $3,000. But what happens if Wanamaker doesn't get all the usage that people expect, or the 31 minutes I'm projecting him for, and he gets 26 minutes, and then he scores 19 fantasy points? And okay, he doesn't ruin you if you played him, but clearly he's not winning you a GPP. He can assist you in getting up to studs, but so can another 6 $3,000 players that we already have. If Butler is out, Hero must play. If Butler and Bam are out, if Butler's out, I'd rather prefer Dragic or none, assuming that the Hero keeps coming off the bench. Is Dennis Smith Jr. and Quickly in the same lineup okay? Yes. Come on, y'all. It's free. Tap a smash like, caress the like button, says Artful Dodge. Appreciate that, man. Appreciate that. Yo, we'll pull up the Knicks minutes. I'll update this on Patreon. I have to finalize these minutes. This is just kind of the quick and dirty without adding it up to 240. But, yeah. So if you're still in here, we're going to go live for another 5 to 10 minutes, and then I'll update all the projections on Patreon. If you're just getting in right now, we do have a new optimizer that you can scroll back to a little bit earlier on. We were previewing the optimizer, showing some of the top lineups. That's going to now include Manuel Quickly into some of those as well, and definitely going to be different than those ones we saw. But we saw some really good ones, like some of the top projected lineups earlier with 15% randomness, some uniques, some groups, not anywhere near the full amount of groups we want to add, but Paul George plus Giannis, plus Jokic with viable, strong lineup. So paying up for 2 studs and maybe even 3 is the move to go to tonight. Ty Jerome looked good. Yeah, I mean, he grades out as an okay play, but for 19 fantasy points, I'd rather go elsewhere. Is Juan Toscano Anderson a decent sleeper? All those guys on Golden State tonight have the same exact status on them. Whichever one start are the better plays. If Kelly Oubre is out, it's a free-for-all. play any of them. Even if they're coming off the bench, they're going to play mid to upper 20s and they're in like the 3K range. So Toscano Anderson, yeah, he's not going to pick up a lot of ownership because he's probably coming off the bench. As of right now, I have him grading out pretty well because I'm actually giving him minutes. And if Oubre is out, all those guys stabilize their minutes even more. I have Toscano Anderson for 18 minutes. If Oubre was out, he probably hits the 20s. Paul George if Kawhi is out, or Kyle Lowry. Paul George if Kawhi is out. Thoughts on Wiseman in the minutes tonight? No interest. I have Wiseman tonight for 18 minutes. No interest. Sal doesn't play FanDuel. Correct. Thoughts on Daniel Tice? New here. I just subscribed. What's going on, Frank? Welcome. New subscriber that we got here. Shout out to you. Round of applause. Daniel Tice, no interest for me. I could pull up the minutes for you to give you a little bit more in-depth analysis there. 26 minutes on Daniel Tice. He had those 2 nice games. The only reason he had those 2 nice games was because, the only reason he had the second nice game for bigger minutes was because both of them he was shooting well. But they gave him even more run because he kept shooting well. He averaged 18.5 points through 2 games. You're not going to get Daniel Tice just playing 30 minutes a game. I have him back down to like 25. He's averaging 25 minutes on the year. Gave him 26 in this game against Toronto. He's still, when all of Kemba, Brown, and Tatum are playing, and you still have Tristan Thompson out there, and even when Tristan Thompson is out, they're going to give all those minutes, not really to Tice, but more so to Robert Williams. Yeah, and even some Taco Fall. Like, there's just no interest in Tice for me. Not at this price point. If Tice was like 4,100, yeah. Best value cheap center plays tonight. There's actually a decent amount of cheap center plays tonight. Now, they're not like $3,000 flat like some of the other value, but you have $4,800 Serge Ibaka. You have $43 Brook Lopez, $5,600 Nerlens Noel. Those are some options for you. Then more in the mid-range, Chris Boucher at 66, and a guy that I really like today, Jakob Poeltl at 6,200 now that we have no LaMarcus Aldridge. Minutes projections for Dario Saric. Yeah, so Cam Johnson has been ruled out. Dario Saric, I believe I gave, what do I have him at, 20 minutes? Dario Saric at 20 minutes tonight. The problem, you can't give him a lot more. I only had Cam Johnson at like 20. So some of those minutes go to Saric, who I had at like 12. So he gets like half of those or so of the Cam Johnson minutes. But you still have Nadar out there, right? And some other guys who are going to be, Jay Crowder is going to pick up some. McCall Bridges, I gave an extra minute. Things like that. Second center spot, Ayton or Holmes. I'll go 8 in there. Favorite stud, favorite value. Right now, my favorite value is a toss-up between Dennis Smith Jr. and Emmanuel Quickley. It's probably Dennis Smith Jr. still. So Dennis Smith Jr. favorite value as of right now. And then my favorite stud is Jokic. Sal, come to Buffalo when this pandemic's over to go to a Bills game and eat some wings. You'll love it there. I've been to Buffalo once. It was Aaron Rodgers' worst game of his career to that point. Wide open bomb. It was like a very low-scoring game. I can't even remember the score. It might have been like 18-11 or some shit. Something weird. And a bomb to Jordy Nelson would have won the game from like their own 4-yard line, and Jordy Nelson just dropped it wide open, blown coverage. It was just one of Rodgers' worst games at that point. Like, I think the Packers ended up being the 2 seed that year, but they had the chance to be the 1 seed if they won. There's like 2 or 3 games left in the year. It was freezing there in Buffalo. I stayed in the town nearby. Is it Aurora? Is it Aurora in New York or something? We stayed in an Airbnb. It was really nice over there. It was a nice little town. Thoughts on Quickley tonight? Love him. Like him a lot. Ended up giving Quickley. I currently have Quickley now projected for 26 minutes at over 1.1 fantasy points per minute. Who are the 3K values? There's just, as of right now, there's like an endless amount of them. Like the entire Golden State team. Brad Wanamaker, Kent Bazemore, Eric Paschall, Terrence Davis, Watanabe, Damian Lee, Toscano Anderson. If you really want to play Ty Jerome, he at least pops up some. Roughly how many players are in your player pool? This is going to change, but like right now, I think it's like 59 because there's just so much value. Right now it's 59, but that's going to change. I'm going to solidify down on value. So that will change. That will probably get to like 50-ish to 55. Cantor plus other Portland players. Cantor looks okay. I'd rather have Dame if I'm like picking one guy from Portland just because we have a lot more value now, so it's easier to pay up for these guys. Smith and Quickley in the same lineup, okay? Yeah. Us Bills fans remember that game in East Aurora for sure. Yeah, East Aurora. We stayed in like an Airbnb close to there, but then we were downtown. There's like this really nice place. There was like this huge store that was like a block long. This store was pretty cool. But then there was like this really nice place. Like if you're driving, I guess, up the town away from like the stadium or whatever, there was like to the right. To the right, there was like a brick. It was like kind of bricks. It had like a little upstairs, like it was like a cafe or a restaurant, little upstairs. We got like soups and sandwiches there. It was really good. I just remember like the vibe in that place was really cool. Brian Horn says, Sal, not even just saying this is the best DFS show. Oh no, what happened? Why'd the message go away? This is the best DFS show going right now. I love Osmo, but minimum of 3 yawns for their first hour strategy shows. We don't blink on your shit, somebody says. Appreciate that, man. Yeah, I saw Osmo was doing a 4 o'clock show. I guess people saw that we were hitting 1,000 viewers during this time. They figured they'd slap together a quick show. Bielitsa, Peyton Pritchard, Sarge, or Terrence Davis? I'll take Terrence Davis right now. Fade 1, Giannis, Jokic, PG. If I had to fade 1 PG. What do you think about the stack of Walker, Tatum, and Brown? No interest. Any Mo Wagner today? No. What 2 studs in jam in the same lineup entry? I like Jokic and Giannis to jam in, just to full-on pay-ups. I know this isn't necessarily related, but who do you think will win between Celtics and Toronto tonight? The Celtics, if they start all their starters. Somebody says Kawhi is in. Okay, that's fair. I already have Kawhi projected in, so we can pull up the Clippers minutes, but nothing to change there with Kawhi being in, just to change Derrick Rose right now. Any final questions? Is Kemba in play tonight? Yes, he is. Any final questions? Get them in now. If you guys want to check out Super Draft, again, I'm telling you right now, their contests are going to fill in 2 hours. $7,500 to first. Well, not fill in 2 hours, but start. These contests won't fill. They're actually the opposite there. If you want to support this channel, you can check out Super Draft. But again, it's a ton of fun, and it's where your first dollar should be going. Anytime you have a 30% increased chance of winning, or let's just say at the very worst 20% chance, increased chance of winning, just because you play in a site where their contests don't fill, is all you need to know. Is Jokic your highest point total on this slate? I believe so. I believe I have more for Giannis. I mean, I definitely have more for Giannis. I have them both at 60 point. Like, I have Jokic at 60.4 and Giannis at 60.6. So basically the same. Giannis is $100. They're basically the same play. That's why I want to play both of them. But they are my 2 highest point totals. Westbrook love on DK. Yes, some. Like, I just want 2 studs in every lineup, but now that we have so much more value, I just want Giannis and Jokic if I'm playing a single entry. But yeah, Westbrook definitely in play. Top Super Draft plays. Yeah, so Super Draft plays tonight. Lillard, Fox, I like a lot. So obviously outside of like the 1x guys like Giannis and Lillard's up there and Jokic, I really like Fox at a 1.3x multiplier. I really like Cantor at 1.55x. Middleton, people will still not go back to because he burns them sometimes at a 1.4x. Some sneakier plays like a Derrick. Well, Derrick Rose is now out, but he had a 1.7x. But DeJounte Murray 1.4, Harrison Barnes 1.6. Grant is out. Beautiful. No online sports betting here in Mississippi. Dang. Building my Super Draft bankroll through the free NBA throw contest. There we go. That's nice. Bagley season question mark? Not right now. Is Aaron Rodgers a must play tonight? Of course, always. Is Kent Bazemore a must? No. Horford is out. Okay, good. We already projected him out. Oubre questionable. I thought somebody in here said he was out. No, he's questionable. Somebody did say that, but he's questionable. Alrighty, that's it. I'm going to post the link to the optimizer and the tools and all that if you guys want to check it out. Linked down in the description, but also right here on Patreon. I'll put it in the chat. So yeah, I'm going to go right now and update for Jeremy Grant out and update for Derrick Rose out. So best of luck. Derrick Rose is out. Jeremy Grant is out as of 5:31 p.m. East Coast time today. Hour and a half or so until lock. I will update those and anything else that comes out. Enjoy the rest of your evening. Tomorrow we will have a NASCAR video out. We already have the big MMA show out for the big event on Saturday. We'll have a live stream on Saturday for that event. I'll have a vlog out tomorrow around noon. As of right now, nothing on Sunday. Maybe we'll cover the All-Star game. Probably won't, but maybe we'll cover it. That showdown slate. And then, yeah, next week, back to your golf, and then NBA starts next Wednesday. I haven't been on in a minute. Be safe. Same to you, Picasso TV. Same to you. All right, everybody. Peace out. Enjoy the rest of your day. See you in the next one.